Hello. I will call this talk Don't Shanghai Hastings. As you know, every formal vote in the forthcoming state election will end up on either the Labor or the Liberal pile. Thus, as both major parties are committed to building a new container port for Melbourne, it is already certain that after the election, whoever wins will be able to say that they have a 100% mandate to build a massive new container port for Melbourne. If the Liberals win, it will be in Hastings. If Labor wins, it will be in either Hastings or Port Phillip Bay. Labor has already given itself enough room to go back to the Hastings option by announcing that it will have further studies on the project. To add to the confusion, the Labor candidate is quoted on the front page of the local Western Port News as saying that he is for this expansion of the Hastings port, contrary to his party's position or stated position. If you vote for the Greens or the other independent candidate, no one will know if you did so in protest against the port or for other of their policy positions. And the same goes for the other options you have on your ballot paper. I am strictly this one issue candidate, thus providing you with the opportunity to engage in a sort of referendum on this massive project. A primary vote for any of the other candidates will not only not count as a clear vote against the port, but will also allow the proponents of this project to say, hey, look, they had an opportunity to express opposition to this at the ballot box and didn't care to. Mr. Lean, CEO of the Hastings Port Authority, begins his talks by referring to the 100,000 people both major parties are determined to keep pumping into Melbourne from overseas each year. An MCG completely full, Mr. Lean marvels. He describes Scots catching cod and sending it to China to be processed and packaged and sent back to Scotland. He talks of people at Bunnings choosing the $10 tool over the $200 one and throwing it away at the end of a few weeks. All part of the brave new world the people who control us have imposed upon us. Thus, says Mr. Lean, we must have more and bigger ships and the necessary ports for them. I would begin a talk with exactly the same words, but conclude that we should stop this explosion of food miles and population and imported Chinese junk and start making our own good stuff again, and then we'll have jobs. There is considerable expert doubt that the port will actually work any better than the desal plant. Remember all the jobs that was going to bring us. We have to ask ourselves, where does this perpetual growth end? On population growth, Neil Burgess said, how can you stop them? And the simple answer is, stop inviting them in, Neil. But Julia Gillard dared to say, I am not a big Australia person. And then she had her mouth shut, as she continued to be a big Australia person. Who told her to shut her mouth? Even Kelvin Thompson MP doesn't know, and he told me that he'd asked her, so she obviously didn't tell him. Who has this power over who we are, what environmental and social life we have? Not the PM, it seems. And it's certainly not us. There is much about this massive industrialisation of Western Port to consider, but no room here for all of it. There has been expert commentary about it in the local papers, and you can Google and email. You can decide if you want this or not. The massive road and rail works, the dredging, the noise and lights. Will the 400-metre ships actually come here? Maersk say they won't be sending any. But is there any benefit to you or your family or neighbours? And if you decide you don't want it, I can think of nothing at all you can do about it except vote for me to register your opinion. This is our fracking, desal, nuclear or whatever moment. Another localised abomination in the name of endless crude growth is forced upon us. The only form of economic management they seem capable or willing to consider is perpetual growth. Impotent individual communities are picked off one by one in the name of phony progress and a fake wider good as we all go down the industrial sewerage pipe. Mr. Lean has said that Western Port Bay, where I am here at Tortoise Head, will be an international superhighway, and we will be in the gutter and the garbage bins, warehouses beside it. Anyway, of course, I'm not pretending that I could win this election. It's just an opportunity for you to express opposition to this massive project if you care to. And after you've voted for me, you vote for whoever you choose to. And thank you for listening, and goodbye.